However, towards the end of the conversation that we had, right? He What's very interesting about him, he thought in like what I think was like the general liberal ideology, I don't particularly agree with the new liberal ideology today. I just don't. Progressiveness today is not really progressive. And I think the way he was thinking was very progressive at the time. What he said from all this was, we need to really, of course, acknowledge the past and everything. I don't think erasing it was a really good idea, but he did say that we need to teach a new culture where people can be really proud of and really can progress and move forward from it, right? And that's something that he really agreed on. He didn't particularly agree that, because again, a lot of like the legislation it's put for everybody, right? And also, of course, certain people have complaints about it, but certain cultures, especially people from immigrant roots, right, who has a point of reference from like that bad moment and to where it is now, it's better and everything, right? And when you really look at it, and maybe like as an objective person, right? Because again, we have to acknowledge the fact that we did make mistakes as a country. I think we can all acknowledge it as well. But if we continuously, and I think he thought the same way as well, if we continuously think back of like all the bad things that happen, when are you ever going to feel proud to really progress and move forward? Because the people today that are really working and improving Canada are really people that want to push for better, resources, better, opportunities, right? And the great thing about Canada as well, and I want to put it out there as well, because you can be Muslim, you can be Christian, you can be Catholic, you can be everything. Freedom of religion is probably the best thing that's happened to this country and a lot of Western, the Western side of the country as well. Because again, it moved away from, if you look at it historically context, this divine and conquer thing. And, we talked about that a little bit. And he realized, like, he even really had actually more appreciate the country. I thought he was more Canadian than I was, because, like, obviously he doesn't particularly like the gun laws. I have opposing views on it, but, let's agree to disagree, right? But he really then looked at it as like, oh, you know, but that doesn't push away from the fact that he actually did agree that he didn't want people to really look at that side of things and not say, like, represent this is Canada. He wants to look and represent Canada in a new way, for future people as well. And I'm gonna actually reveal it. Actually, he actually works in one of the community centers where he's trying to engage and bring people together, and that is amazing, And he always talked about how he lived in like a multicultural, society and everything, and what it means to be Canadian as well, right? Because again, him and I both knew that Canada is kind of brought together by these universal values. And even though what started things and all that, we made mistakes, definitely do, but to constantly berate mistakes and everything, and I can say this, if we continue on this path of just berating people when people are trying to make things better, whatever achievements that they do today and what they do in the future will never be fully acknowledged. There's so many good things in this world that Canada has done over the years, and I think that's something that we should really appreciate more. At the end of the conversation, obviously, we talked about many other things as well, and we agreed to disagree on like certain political issues because we did talk about that as well. But I think that's a great thing that we did at the end of the day. We had a fucking conversation. That is more than anybody can say right now. Because nowadays, we just can't have conversations. We can't really express ourselves. We're so mitigated to have like 30-second clips and everything. You know what? I don't even think a lot of people are going to watch the full, of me just talking about it in general, why I think this way, all right? About like why we should not cancel Canada Day, right? And then on my perspective anyways, right? If we're constantly like doing this as well and making like political statements all over again, when can you appreciate the people of today that are trying to make things better, I think it's just ridiculous that, I think everybody has the right to maybe make a date where, you can protest and whatnot. You can do whatever. But at least have a day where you appreciate the country. I mean, you can disagree with many of the things. I mean, you have the right to even burn this flag right here in your own country. Like, you can even shit on Canada. You can shit on the leadership and everything. You can do all of that and you get no repercussions, right? As long as you're not hurting anybody. So you have all these privileges. Even like, let me put it into context as well. There is a Hindu temple, there is a Muslim mosque, and there is a Christian a temple. Sorry, church. You have a church, right? All in this country, right? Same with America, same with South America, and all that, right? Because that makes the Western values special, right? And of course, a lot of the modern westernized culture is actually being spread out to all the other countries, right? Except with those countries as well, and there's like, why is all these things are happening and whatnot, right? Because they have this divine and conquer mentality, right? Which has always been a very historical thing in the past. People are saying like, oh, this is obsolete, this is ridiculous, right? Well, a lot of the good things that happen, right, from mistakes from the past that we've made and we have progressed as like a society in Canada, right? And these are some of the reasons why I'm particularly going to support it, and he's also, at the end of the conversation, the guy that I talked to, I think he even thinks that it's ridiculous that this is a thing. I think even he says like it deserves a day at least to appreciate and just not to cancel it, right? Because at the end of the day, you may think like, okay, you're canceling these people, appreciation. I'm Donald A. McDonald. Well, you don't really need to appreciate those people. You appreciate the people of today. Appreciate the people that actually made an impact, all around the world, that made this country brilliant. I particularly like the flag, because it's such an abstract thing that people can all connect, and it really means a lot to other people.